How's everybody doing tonight? You ready for day 9 of the ROKR 3D Pinball? Hope you are, because that's what we got. It still doesn't really look that much like a pinball machine, but you can see the side walls here, and you can see, this must be some part of the front. There's a ball return here, and there's a ball like launcher there, so there's definitely something going on, but I think we still have quite a bit of ways to go. We got this different camera angle because we have to be able to see like really tall and also really long, and so we repurposed what's normally the close-up camera and actually made it like quite a far away camera. Anyway, let's get to work here. According to the instructions, according to the scoreboard, which is on the bottom, in this case, it's page 19. So let's take a look here. Yep, that's page 19. So what's going on page 19? There's a top and a bottom. They've got all the pieces here handy. They've got them listed there. That's a lot of them. G22, I can barely even see them all, get them all on the screen. G22, G23, H13, H16 times 2, H20, H21. Then we go into the bags and we find in bag 4, P26, in bag 13, P36. In bag 19, P45 times 3. I think that's a screw, which we've used before. Yeah, it is. Bag 19 we've used before. And then P54 and P56. P56, if I'm not mistaken, is this piece. But I could be mistaken, and it could be this tape. It's one of those two. It's one of those two pieces. It's either the red or the double-sided tape. Well, let's take a look there. Which is it? We've got a sheet here. When it doesn't come from a board, we refer to this sheet. So P54 and P56. All right, P56 is the double-sided tape, and P54 is the plastic. So the answer was both. we got them both. We need them both right now. All right, so I'm gonna have to stack these pieces over here on top of the those half-size boards, just because I need some space to work with. All right, so how many pieces is that? 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 12. I think it's 14 pieces. Let me just double count that. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, it's 14. All right, so 14, what's that? Gonna move us to 231, right? 217 plus 14. So we're up to piece 231 on our way to 42. Maybe it is 42. For a while I've been saying it's probably more than 482 pieces, but maybe it is. Maybe it is 42. So this is done. There were 3 pieces in this piece of plastic. Potentially you could save this and maybe cut it and use that tape to add, some coloring to some other places, but probably it's garbage. I'm going to throw it out. Alright, so that sheet is gone. That's, what do we call that? P56. P54 is the double-sided tape. I don't know why I'm working backwards today. Alright. One thing we didn't do yet is we got this camera at the side. There's a box on the floor there. There's some boards in there, but underneath those boards is something else. Let me pick up all the board. We're probably going to need some of those boards right now. But what's underneath the boards is bags. And there's a double decker of those, like some box of Valentine's Day candy. So what else do we need? 19 times 3. We don't need to go to the box for that. We have 19. It's right here. I'm trying to reach off screen and grab it. 19 is here. We worked with it another day. We also have 17 and 18 off screen over there. They're screws we worked with, but that's not what we need. What we need is P26 and P36, which are in bags 4 and 13. So, where are bags 4 and 13? Let's take a look here. There's bag 13, and that is quite a piece. I don't know what we're gonna do with it, but is it maybe sound effects? It looks like a little speaker. I think maybe this is sound effects, or at least it's a speaker. All right, so that was 13. There's only one piece in that bag, so that's got to be the right piece. So that's 13. The other bag they want is 4. P26 is in bag 4. Bag 1 we have on the table. It's not bag 1. What is it? I think there's bag 3. There's bag 2. Well, I thought for sure bag 4 would be in there, but it wasn't. Alright, here's bag 9, bag 8, bag 6. I feel like we're getting close. Bag 5, 7, 10, 11. Nope, I thought 4, 5, and 6 are here, but 4 isn't here. By the way, there's 3 circuit boards in here. There's more. 5, 6. When I saw that speaker, I was thinking there's going to be circuit boards involved. 9, 7, 10. All of those bags have circuit boards in them. And so does 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no less than half a dozen circuit boards. But none of them had the number 4 on it. And actually, I can tell you why. I see it right here. I picked this up just assuming it was at the bottom, but it's number 4 is right here. And similar to bag 13, it's a single. I believe that, no, there's multiple items in bag 4. For a second, I thought that was all one thing. And now there's like 4 items, maybe 3. 1, 2, I think 3 items in bag 4. Anyway, we'll find out in a minute. Okay. So we were working backwards through this list here. And we found P56, P54, P45 times 3, P36, and P26. All that stuff is here. Actually, we need to know in bag 4, what's that P26 look like? So P36 is the speaker. We got that. Loudspeaker. That's what they call it. P26 is a switch. How about that? So there's a switch. So one of these has a switch. Yeah, sure enough. Look at that. That's got a switch. And I'm going to follow my policy of once I start on a bag, I'm not putting it back in the box. I'm now putting it over on the side here where I've got some spare parts that have fallen out. So there's a power switch here. Power's off, power's on. Of course, it's not connected to anything, but that's how it's going to work. And then we got the loudspeaker. We can leave that in the bag since that's a single. What's next? We need a lot. We need from the G and the H boards. H 13, 16 times 2, 20, and 21. All right, so we got to dive back in here. We need the G board and the H board. That's K. That's L. This is G. And I believe the one after it is H. There's G. Why is this chair so loud? There's H. So we got the G and the H boards here. There's also a lot of pieces that have fallen out. So it's potentially they also could be in this like pile of pieces that have fallen out. Anyway, let's start looking for these pieces. So H, 13 and 16 times 2. All right. 16 is right here. So there's H16 times 2. We need a little sanding on that H16. All right, what next? H20, no, H13, H20, and H21. There's H12. H14 came out of here. Well, these pieces, they must already be on our scrap pile because I'm not seeing the pieces we need. I see 12, but I don't see 13. I see 8. I see 18, 19, and 17. Actually 15, not 17. All right, so we need 13, 16, 20, and 21. We already got 16. We need 13, 20, and 21. None of them are here. That's crazy. All right, let's start looking at our scrap pile. Let's go back and see what they look like. So what does H13 look like? Oh, it's a big piece. Yeah, I think that one fell out. Yeah, H13. So this one had fallen out of the H board at an earlier time. So there's H13. And now we still need 20 and 21. What do they look like? 20 is another big piece. So I think it also fell out. Here it is. H20. What does 21 look like? It's another. They've all these pieces fell out of the G board. H board. H board. There's H21. All right. There were so 1, 2, those 3 huge H pieces were all on the scrap pile, meaning that in previous attempts to take things out of the H board, those pieces just fell out. Now we need 2 pieces from G, 22 and 23. G is like a very fancy board. There's a lot of inked pieces on G. There's a lot of like stars and rockets and curly pieces and pieces with like Target logos with stars. There's a lot going on here. All right, 22 and 23. Do we see those pieces? Okay, I see them. There's 22. There's 23. That looks too small for a ball to pass through. And they both look like they form some sort of circle. I guess we'll find out what they do. 23. And 22. Wow. That's a lot of pieces. I already counted this, right? These were those 14 pieces we were talking about. Wow. Really something. We got a lot of pieces here to work with. All right. Looks like we're going to build off of this H20 piece. We're going to stack 22, G22 and G23 are going to pin in P36, which is the speaker. And we're going to use 3 screws, which are P45, all to attach it to the H20 board. So before we move on to anything else, let's get that done. So the H20 board, it has this honeycomb. They have a hexagon formed out of other hexagons, so it kind of looks like a honeycomb. I mean, you can think it looks like whatever you want. Kind of looks like a honeycomb. All right, so that's where the speaker is going to be. But it's going to be on the, like, this is the front. Ink side out, as always. That ink comes through on this side, but it looks kind of faded on this side. This is the side with the ink. So if you lay it down with the honeycomb on the left, I think there's no way to do that wrong, right? No, you could flip it like this and the honeycomb would still be on the left. All right, so it's the honeycomb on the left and the 4 tabs at the bottom away from you. All right, that's the formation we're going to build it in. So let's like kind of stack it out here. So G23. All right, look. There's 3 holes in H20 around the honeycomb, and there's 3 holes in G23. You see how that works? Now, we've created some space, some like negative space inside of G23, which is up against the honeycomb. Obviously, that's where the speaker goes. I mean, like, obviously. And I think it's pretty obvious that the power button's going to go there, but, you know, one thing at a time. All right, so let's do that. It doesn't really show where to feed the cable. I guess we're going to get the speaker in place first and worry about the cable a little bit later. So the speaker is P36 coming out of bag 13. You'll know it because it looks exactly like a speaker, because it is a speaker. All right, it's got a long cord. We're going to kind of line it up so that the cord is at the direct, like 12 o'clock if you're looking at this, like directly away from you. Directly in the middle. If you think of G23 as a horseshoe, the cable's coming directly out of the opening in the horseshoe. It actually keeps wanting to twist because of this cable here. I don't know what I can do about that. It's it has like a memory from being curled up in the bag for so long. Maybe if I stick it behind this thing, it'll stop like pulling against the speaker. It didn't stop, but it's going to get pinned in because now on top of that goes G22. So G23 like fits in the speaker, and then G23 fits around. You have to see there's like 2 levels to this speaker. So G22 presses right up against G23. All of the screw holes line up. So we're going to put the 3 screws in. I think we're going to put the 3 screws in first, and then we're going to line them up and screw them into the H20 board. Well, I gotta say, this is a pretty interesting puzzle so far, in that it's huge in size and it's ambitious in scope. I mean, what did we say? There were 8 circuit boards, and that's not even counting the power button and the speaker that we're installing in this step. So we took 3 screws out of the P45, the 19, the bag labeled 19, which is full of screws, which are known as P45. Yeah, I mean, if this works, it's going to be a great accomplishment, I think. Oh, look at that. We can put these together. It's like, it doesn't get pinned in until you screw it down. So you can just like put these two together and then put it over the speaker. It kind of makes it a little bit easier, I think. All right, so I'm just lining the screws up for now. But very soon we're going to screw them in. Like a minute from now. Now we got to get them to hold on to the speaker and to line up with the holes. So I'm going to put the speaker in there first. And then I'm going to try to line everything up. Wow, that's a lot to try to do at once. Everything came apart. I'm almost panicking right now. All right, I think I can get this top screw. Well, just have to reset and do it again. No reason to panic. Let's get this screw through. Yeah, the screw's not through. That was what I was worried about. Okay, now it's... I'm pretty sure that's lined up. Let's screw it in like halfway. Don't go further than halfway because we need to work with the other 2 screws. You know, make sure they're lined up. And we need to keep the speaker in place. Yeah, this is a bit of a type of a show, a type of a theater. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term. It's kind of a poop show. Anyway, we're going to get it done somehow. These screws kind of came out. All right, it's back in, I think. All right, I got 2 of the 3 screws in. Now, you would think the third one would just line right up, like it can't be off if the other 2 are in. Let's try that theory. See if it catches. I don't think it is catching. Oh, man. I hope I didn't pull those wires out. I had the cable, like, attached behind that structure, and I was, like, yanking on it. But it looks like everything stayed in. And it looks like everything's lined up. I think we can just screw this in at this point. Just tight enough. Don't keep turning it or you'll strip the wood because it's not threaded and it's wood. And there's nothing to really for this to bite into other than it creates a groove in the wood. And if you keep twisting it, that groove is going to go away. So you create it, you use it once, and if you try to use it a second time or you over crank it, you're going to destroy it. Anyway, I think it looks... Does that look right? We got the G22, the G23 inside, P36, which is the speaker. Got the 3 P45 screws holding it in place. We got the cable at the bottom where this big notch is. Looks pretty good to me. All right, so also on this very first part of the instructions, we should put the power button through. I think that's going to be pretty easy. I don't think there's anything to that really. Well, I suppose the one thing is you need to know which side is up. And the only way to tell that is the two attachments. One is at the middle, one is at one end, and the other end is open. So let's zoom in on the instructions. Where is that open end? The open end goes towards this tab. So there's going to be a wire here, a wire in the middle. It's going to be open at the bottom. So that's the way to do it. So let's do it. I didn't even look like what direction that means the power button is in. We'll do that in a second. All right, so from this side, we can see the power button. So this kind of looks, I mean, of course you can't really tell. It's a circle and a line. But this looks like certainly the way I was expecting it to look. I'm not sure how hard I should push this piece in. I feel like I should push it in till it's flush. But let's fast forward in the instructions and see if that's accurate. It is. It is accurate. All right, so let's get that done before we move on. I got to push this all the way in somehow without breaking it. So let's see if we can do that. It does not want to go in. I'm tempted to start waxing the sides of it. All right, it's going. It's like making a grinding sound when it goes in, like it's tearing up the wood. But that's good in a way because maybe it won't come back out. I mean, I think that's what they wanted from us. The power button in. All right, what's next? All right. Next is kind of easy. We take the two H16s and we put them on the sides of the speaker. And I believe these pieces are symmetric, so yeah, they're like all four quadrants are the same. You can't really mess up. Let me just confirm that. Do they always look the same? Yeah. Yeah, these things are symmetric. You can't really mess up. So let's stick them in there. Let's proceed. All right, it's in there. Good. All right, what next? All right. You can see there. Well, let's zoom in. So it says flip over assembly. I don't know why it says that. It's a reference to this piece, but we haven't used this piece yet, so there's no real context to flipping it over. Although, coincidentally, I do need to flip it over. Maybe they knew. Oh, that reminds me. Oh, hey, Key. How's it going? Key gave me a thumbs up. Thank you. And I returned that thumbs up. I was going to say something that sounds a little crazy. It's going to sound crazy, but I'm just going to say this. I'm going to say it anyway. And I'm going to do my best to respond to anybody who wants to chat. Now, here's the crazy part. Even if you're watching this video 10 years from now. Even if you're watching it 10 years from now, I'm going to do my best to respond. And the way I'm going to do that is sometimes I'm just going to randomly say things. And I think those things will line up with someone who watches the video 20 years from now and has a thought. And then I'm going to say something, and that thought is going to be an answer. Doesn't seem like it, right? I mean, I'm just reading instructions from this panel, but there's a philosophical reason why I think that this is doable. I don't know if now is the time to explain it, but let me explain it piece by piece. So for tonight, I'll just give you the sort of name of the philosophy. I don't know if it exists, so I'm just going to tell you the philosophy that I know it as. And I do plan on doing a YouTube documentary at some point to explain the philosophy. And it's not just a philosophy, it's also a sort of physics thing. By the way, this piece is on incorrectly. Oh no, it's on correctly. I was holding it the wrong direction. All right. So here there's going to be a piece. Oh, by the way, I had that same the same thing showed up on my YouTube, that Carly Russell. It must have been like live today. It showed up on my computer too.
There was press conference.
Yeah.
They're saying that she says that nothing happened. She basically.
Yeah, like she apologized or whatever, and because she's probably worried about lawsuits, something like that. Okay, so there was a Carly Russell story today. There was actually a lot of stories today. So this Carly Russell had a press conference. She had said that she was abducted, but turns out she wasn't. She just kind of said that. All right, this piece is age 13, and we're going to put it on. It's asymmetric. So the important part to remember here is this circle does not go on the same side as the speaker. It goes on the other side. So it's going to go this is the way it's going to line up. So these look symmetric. These look symmetric. The notches look symmetric. But the top is different, and there's a circle on one side. So anyway, these are going to line up with this. So the philosophy, I was going to tell you the name of it before we sidetracked. Oh, wait, let me continue the Carly Russell, because that was, I started that, I should finish it. So she was found safe and sound. She was never abducted. She had a press conference, and her attorney apologized. Which is unique. So they're coming clean right from the start. They're maybe there'll be more to the story, but the press conference was an apology. So when we put this H13 piece on, this piece at the bottom, this hole, it could receive at the top or bottom. It's the top one. That's the one you're using. And you really can't mess up because there's a notch next to it. So that was one story. There was another big story, but I'll tell you that one in a minute after I tell you the philosophy and the name of the philosophy. So on other episodes, I'll tell more about it. But I'll just tell you for now the name that I use. It's like my sort of code word. Probably will be the name for the video explaining the philosophy. And that is The Song Remains the Same. So the first sort of bit of that I'll give you, it's actually the second big news story from today. It ties in well with that philosophy. So the second big news story was there was a drowning in Massachusetts, and it was the chef of former U.S. President Barack Obama. He has a personal chef, and that personal chef drowned in Massachusetts at a pond outside of Obama's house. And the call to 911 came from inside of Obama's house. It was a big pond. I don't know how far it was from Obama's place. I don't know if the guy was at Obama's place. I don't know if he was working or he was vacationing. I don't know anything. I just know that that was a big story today. I think a lot of people don't know what happened other than that the story did exist. But the reason this ties into The Song Remains the Same is that, without explaining the whole philosophy right now, there's this thing where I believe that we all have access to the same data stream, and it appears in different ways based on your render of it. So, for example, I went to the dentist today, and it was just for a cleaning. It was like very simple. And the dentist laid the chair like completely flat, which I hadn't experienced before. Like, they don't usually do it completely flat, and I thought that was odd. And the dentist was asking if I'm sensitive, like any areas, and I said no, and she asked again, and I said no, and she said, like, tell me if there's anything. And then when she started doing the cleaning, I said the water. I said, be careful, like, not to over flood my mouth with water. That's like something I find uncomfortable. So she actually had me turn my head sideways and let the water like leak out while she's working. Like, they already have a pump, but then she additionally had it like leak out, which was like first time I went for cleaning and they did that. So I was lying on that like board. I sort of ruined it. I was lying on that padding completely straight, and let me tell you the instructions here first before I tie it together. So it looks like we kind of need to pop this piece off, because they gave us the instructions. You can see here, take a look. The way they gave us the instructions, 1, 2, 3, but here's the problem. 3 needs to be done before 2, because we need to use the tape. Remember the double-sided tape and the sticker? So they need 4 pieces of double-sided tape to get the sticker. So that's where that flip it over comes from. All right, so while I'm doing the tape, I'll continue that story. So this appointment was like at noon, and I was like, we have to make sure we're putting on the right side. Okay, yeah. We're putting on this side. So now if you have these 2 mountains on the left, this is the side that we're going to put this tape on. They want 4, put this red. They want 4 pieces. And they want the pieces at the ends, like the last spaces, and the middle, which feels to me like they should put 3 in the middle. So I'm going to do that. All right, so I'm laying completely flat on this dentist thing, and I'm concerned that they fill in my mouth with water. So the way the chef, it was a chef, if I didn't mention that, the chef died at Obama's place, and he was on a paddle board, and he drowned. So I'm not saying anything about myself. I'm very healthy. I hope you are too. I love life. I want to live, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, whatever. Whatever's the appropriate amount of time for someone to live. But it was the big news story. So maybe someone else was on a boogie board and they swallowed a lot of water. Maybe somebody else was washing their dog in a kiddie pool and they fell over. I don't know. I'm just kind of saying this is what happened. Like, I experienced something and the news had something. And if you pay attention, it's like this every single day. Like, you could literally, I'm not telling you to do this, but you could like win sports bets just by paying attention to what's happening in your life, because it's probably also happening on the like macro scale. Like what you're experiencing in the micro is probably also happening in the macro. I almost feel like I'm saying something philosophical right there. You know, people will sometimes say like as above, so below. But I don't want to say that because that has a bad reputation. I think there's even like some people with some very negative ideas use this as their slogan. So I don't want to say that. But there's also people who said it in antiquity, and those people weren't bad people. So there are bad people who use that slogan, but there's also philosophers from thousands of years ago who use that slogan. And this is also, I feel like I'm talking too far into that philosophy. Let's wait for the video. There is a philosophy. It even can be projected into very simple things like how to succeed in business, how to succeed in sports, how to succeed in investing. As I was saying, you could make it how to succeed in gambling, but like, why would you want to do that? That's a very bad use of such a amazing knowledge. So now I'm working with the double-sided tape, and the way this stuff works, as you might have heard me say before, if you try to pick it up from the ends, you'll pick up not only the plastic covering the paper, but the glue. But if you like rip it in the middle, then you won't pick the glue up. But if you try to grab it from the ends, you'll pick up the glue, which would be bad because we need the glue to make the this thing stick. So like another example, the night that the Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup playoff, I was doing a puzzle, and like every indication on that puzzle was that the Golden Knights were going to win the NHL, and then they won the last game in like a laugher. It was like 9-1 or something like that. It was something really ridiculous. So yeah, it's kind of that's. Wait for the video. Wait for the video. I can't explain it. I can explain it if you want, but we're supposed to be doing a puzzle right now. But when I do the documentary video, it'll have examples, it'll have usages, it'll have a lot of really good information. And people are gonna sort of confuse it with some other philosophies, but it's not, because a lot of those other philosophies are like that there's some element of control involved, and this one is more like the control is at the point of the render, which means that there really is no control other than over your own experience. Like you go on an amusement park ride, and some people are like scared and some people are happy. I mean, it's that simple. You know, happiness is a choice. You can choose to be happy. But furthermore, you can choose how you render the data stream. As I said, wait for the video. There'll be more information. For now, let's get this puzzle put together. So you think this is the front? I know we thought this was the front. But this has, I'll tell you why I'm saying that. All right, so we know that this is the front because it got the ball launcher. There's like no two ways about that. The ball launcher is here. This must be the front. But at the same time, the sides have this red, and this has this red. So I feel like this also has to be the front. Maybe it's going to like stack on top like this. Like maybe these are the legs on the bottom. I don't know. That does look like it lines up. And maybe it's going to go together like that. Maybe something else. Let's see. So that thing about the song. Here's another couple of simple examples. I used to go to Manhattan every day and work there, and I would take the ferry. And the place where I used to sit while I was eating my breakfast on the ferry, it's shaped, including the rails, the chair, the floor, the ceiling, the patio on the balcony on the ferry is shaped exactly like the balcony at the back of my house, where I now eat breakfast, because I mostly work remotely these days. And like the desk is actually exactly the same as well. Like the desk at my work is now exactly the same as this desk I'm sitting at right now. So that's another thing. I mean, it might sound crazy, but you can work. You can improve your. I don't know how. Let me not do this one right now. I don't want to make it sound like. I don't want to oversell it and make it sound like the law of attraction. It's if anything, it's like not the law of attraction. It's the will of the imagination. Something like, it's more like that. Like I'm gonna come up with. I'll have to come up with some cool catchphrases. Anyway, for now, we got to move on to the second half of page 19. So what are we up to? What time is it? 46 minutes. We definitely got to at least finish one page. I mean, it's crazy if we don't. Anyway, the pieces here we need, it's H12. I don't know why they have H12 listed on the side. But anyway, H12, and then D4, D9, D10, D11, D12, D13, D14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 8. So that's going to bring us up to 239. And these are all from the D sheet except for H12. All right. Do we have the D sheet here? I think I'm looking at the D sheet, right? Is this it? Yeah, this is it. I don't really see. Yeah, I guess I do. D11, D10, D9. Yeah, okay, I am seeing the pieces we need here. But we also need H12. Now, we were working with the H sheet just a little while ago. Yeah, there's H12. It's got an arrow on it, by the way. That's probably going to be relevant. Man, there's so many pieces like stacking up here. Like, I don't know where to even like put this stuff. It doesn't, you know, I need to be able to work on camera, but I also need to be able to like store all these pieces that we're building. We're like building them in segments, and then I guess they're going to combine together at the end. All right, so there's H12. And then everything else apparently is going to come from this D sheet. So D4, it's a decent sized piece. D4. All right. D9. Interesting piece there. D9. And then 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So D10 through D14. All right. So there's D10. I'm just going to try to keep them in order. 9, 10, 11. Now, 12 is another decent sized piece. 12, and then 13, and then 14. there's 13. 14 looks just like 12. It's like a mirror image of it. All right, so that's all the pieces, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, these look like easy pieces to work with. I just maybe sand them a little bit. Yeah, basically, in order to tell you my philosophy, I either need to teach you like in like weekly sessions, but that sounds too much like going to church. I think what I really need to do is work hard on a documentary and not tell anyone any other than potentially collaborators until it's done. That's the way I did Electromagnet. It's like, it took me about 3 years, and I basically didn't tell anyone anything about it until it was done. That's important, by the way. It's important for productivity, but it's also important in this philosophy. It's like when you tell people stuff, I hate to say this, but you're inviting them into your perception and your render. And if you haven't completed it yet, it might evaporate. I mean, it's terrible to say, right? I mean, it's as a philosophy. I mean, you want to involve other people, but it's tricky because you don't want to control other people, and you don't want other people to control you. You want everybody to be, have their full independence. All right, this cable, the power cable, went through that circle. The speaker cable, there's a little slit here, and I'm assuming that that's where that goes. See the little slit there? I'm assuming that's where the cable goes, but I'm not really sure. Yeah, I think that's where it goes. All right, so with that cable there. By the way, they want this waxed, this piece. And they want it waxed a really strange way. You see this arrow here? They want this waxed. Usually, oh, okay. That's what that symbol means, right? That I think that's the wax symbol. So I think they want it waxed. Usually you wax gears and circles, but because this is a pinball machine, they have some extra uses of wax. They're not just for moving parts. I think they're for parts that the ball is going to move across, the pinball. So I guess for whatever reason, this needs to be slick. Like crazy, right? I never did a puzzle before where they were just wax this whole piece of wood. But that's what they want. Now, this arrow needs to point in the same direction that this wire is going. All right, now enough chit chat. Let's get this on here. So anyway, that whole philosophy speech just started because I wanted to say that I'll try to respond to anything any thoughts anyone has. But it may be up to you to interpret the response. Because if you think about it, I could be responding to everybody who makes any comment over however long YouTube exists or however long the internet exists. And in order to do that, it can't be the answer is 42. It needs to be more open to active receiving. All right, so I put this piece on, And now you can see the wire coming out down here. The other wire's much simpler. It comes out that circle. So the on-off wire comes out the circle. The speaker wire comes out that little slit. And we've put on H12. Now what comes next? All right. This is a very busy section. We're going to put a lot of little pieces on here. And then we're going to attach the 3. So we're going to put on all these little pieces, and then we're going to attach those 3 big pieces. So let's get those 3 big pieces in order right now. So D12, D14, D4. That doesn't seem right. No, yeah, okay, that's fine. D12, D14, and D4. That's right. All right, so this is 12, this is 14, and this is 4. So that's the order that they're going to go on. Now, where's this other stuff going to go? Wow, it's tricky. Okay. D11 is the first piece. And that's going to go on this first notch. I don't know if this is the first notch. In the middle of this red, to the left of it. And now, this is a very particular piece. It's going to go on with the D11 facing towards the left. Towards the speaker. The D11 facing towards the speaker. And then the D10, same rule. The D10 ink facing towards the speaker goes on this other notch. I know the lighting just got different. It'll be like that until the end of this episode. But we can still see, so I think we're good. Now, D9 is easier to read. This curved piece goes on the inside. And the piece that goes on the outside, it's the same thickness as the previous 2 pieces. And again, the ink that says D9 should face the speaker, and it goes on the next notch. So I guess one more little piece goes on the one remaining notch, and then we stack those 3 pieces on. Seems easy enough, right? Now look what we created here. These they look like almost like Christmas trees. All right. So there they are. Now, we put these in order, but these are in like height order. So the bottom one is the one we put on first, which is D4. Now look at this pattern here. And look at those Christmas trees. So this pattern is going to slip over those Christmas trees, and there's one more hole, which is going to go over the D11 piece. I think I want to do the D11 first, and then do those 4. Yep, that's it. That's the pattern. Now let's get it nice and snug here, because there's 2 more pieces coming up they got to fit on. That looks good. These ones should be easy, right? Because we already got one on. Now the pieces are all facing the correct direction. It's confirmed. And there we go. Those 3 went on very quickly. Did we count these pieces? I don't think we did. No, we did. We counted them. There were 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we counted these 8 pieces. So 239 is accurate. We're not done with page 19 yet. What do they want here on this last picture? I guess we are done with page 19. This is just like a QC check. Let's just double check everything looks good. So does everything look good? I'm just looking at the picture and looking at what we built. And yeah, as far as I can tell, everything looks good. So we've done a good job. Page 19 is done. Page 20 is next. That will be tomorrow. I'm John Rapp. This is just Rest Your Eyes. Good night. See you tomorrow.